And joining us now is NBC News military analyst, retired four-star Army General Barry McCaffrey. General, great to see you.
Good to be with you, Joyce.
Okay, first, just your reaction to the president's decision to call in the National Guard without the request of the governor and also mobilize the Marines.
Well, look, at the end of the day, the central issue, bar none, is Trump's statement that he would close off the border with Mexico to illegal migrants and then deport, and his numbers are all over the map, 10 to 20 million illegal migrants here in the United States. That's what we're seeing unfold. That's what the issue is all about. To do that and follow due process and warrants and hearings before judges would be impossible. So we're going to see some essentially lawless behavior in an attempt to round up and deport millions of illegal migrants who are working, paying Social Security, paying taxes, have in many cases been here for years. It's going to crash the agricultural system, construction, many of the service industries. It's going to be a very difficult thing to follow. And Trump seemed to be pouring fuel on the fire. So today's speech at Fort Bragg, North Carolina was simply unbelievable to me. Here in front of active duty military audience, he's talking about the mayor and the governor of California paying agitators, which of course is absolutely false. It's a perilous situation for the United States.
Now, the president has said that he believes it's necessary to protect federal property and ICE agents during these protests, claiming that the protesters are insurrectionists. What do you think is his true objective, and what do you make of his comments calling protesters insurrectionists?
Well, look, it's clear to me that the Trump administration is looking for a confrontation on this issue. He actually said during his campaign that he intended to use the military to assist law enforcement in the biggest deportation in American history. This should be no surprise to us. This is a guy we elected and who is now carrying out an operation that makes zero political and economic sense, except to some of the MAGA supporters. It's a shocking situation. I think at the end of the day, we're going to see this deepen the crisis, spread across the country, and we'll get perilously close to a real confrontation on a constitutional basis. Congress has disappeared. They're not engaged in this issue. Fortunately, the court system and the media are still watching out for the rule of law.
You know, there are going to be the No Kings protests. They're planned for the weekend across more than 1,500 cities, including Seattle, Everett, Tacoma, Olympia. Do you think we could see a military response, and what would be the potential consequences of that?
Well, I actually don't think there's any possibility of the Trump administration actually using the U.S. Armed Forces to control the situation. I think he welcomes the political confrontation. But at the end of the day, federal law enforcement simply cannot intervene in multiple situations. So Trump is driving us toward a conflict that has no good outcome for anyone. And by the way, I might add, I think the governor of California's public rhetoric is equally immature and provocative, boasting that he welcomes being arrested by the Department of Homeland Security. So we need political leadership like Karen Bass, who I know is a very responsible leader, mayor of Los Angeles, trying to cool off the flames of tension. But the President of the United States is clearly urging his supporters to stand behind a law enforcement solution, removing 10 million people here illegally and sending them to other countries. It's not going to happen.
Well, finally, we are in our 5th day of protests in Los Angeles, and I'm wondering what you think it does on the ground to the protesters in terms of the level of fear and whether that is raised when they see the, potentially not just the National Guard, but the feeling that maybe the Marines could move in. What does that do on the ground?
Well, the 2nd, 10th, 7th Marines, 700 some odd terrific assault forces being moved into the city of Los Angeles is a silly move. They're unneeded. Again, this is a political gesture. The LAPD is a terrific law enforcement organization. The Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department is one of the largest in the country. They have adequate manpower to control the situation, but only if the political leadership, starting with the administration, stops urging violence and pouring fuel on the fire. So those Marines, I feel very badly about it. It's a terrific military force designed for assault amphibious operations around the globe, not at home. It's a bad move on the president's part.
I guess what I'm after too is if you're the protester, I have a daughter in the Los Angeles area. If you're a protester going out to peacefully protest and you see that kind of force around you, does it raise the level of fear when people have the right to peacefully gather? I mean, what does that feel like? What should we expect to happen when that's the scenario potentially?
I actually don't think that the majority of protesters are acting in any way in a violent manner. I don't think they're afraid of the California Guard. There's 25,000 National Guard in the California Guard. 4,000 have been activated. They do have families in the area, in some case mixed families in which some family members are here illegally. So I think the other problem is we do have protesters who have seized the moment to cause violent actions. They're just doing it for the fun of it. Some young men and violence in the night and looting. So the LAPD is going to have to deal with that element separately from peaceful protest, Article 1 responsibilities.
General Barry McCaffrey, we're out of time. It is so great to have you with us, to have your perspective always. We'll probably be talking with you again soon as we wait to see what happens this weekend with so many protests planned across the country. Thank you so much.
Good to be with you, Joyce.